The big splash already. Lots to get to. Hope you join us for it all. We'll have Man Show tickets to give away at 5:20. Como Man Show coming up this Saturday. But let's get to this first.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
We kept you in suspense, didn't we? Mizzou had a chance to get another signature win against Arkansas. It was in their hands, quite literally, but too many times it slipped out. And so, look, I think they're still an NCAA tournament team, but you might be sweating it out a little bit once Selection Sunday comes about this weekend. Tigers in the SEC tournament are the 8th seed. All things considered, not the worst thing. They avoid Wednesday. The thing is, though, if things hold chalk for the first day, they'll get Kentucky, still a very tough team, in their first game on Thursday. And if they win that, well, their reward is Florida, the number 1 seed and the hottest team in the SEC by far right now. So tough road to hope for the Tigers in the conference tournament after their loss to Arkansas. That's the Big Show's Big Deal on this 9th day of March 2026.
This is March.
This is March. Mizzou still has not won in March.
Yeah, for better or worse, this is March. I don't know if I didn't say it with quite the enthusiasm that time, did I?
No, you did not. And look, I think for good reason. I mean, Brendan, it was there.
Dude.
It was there, man. They had an opportunity.
So many different times, too.
Yeah.
So the main thing that sticks with me, you have another end-of-game situation that I didn't feel the Tigers executed to their capabilities. 31 seconds left. You're going to take the last shot. That's the theory. But it gets down to 7.2, and they have to call a timeout. At that point, it was a good choice because they hadn't gotten anything going. And so you're stuck with 7 on the game clock, 5 on the shot clock. You have to recognize those differences, and the Tigers just flat out did not really, and I get it, it was kind of a weird scenario, but the Tigers weren't wholly prepared for it because when that missed shot happens and you collect the rebound, you've got time. And I think Trent Pierce, just the horns blaring, and you don't really get used to that scenario, and I think you just kind of rushed the next shot. And he spoke after the game and said, as much that he thought that was maybe the game clock buzzer. But if that's true, the game's already over. There's nothing you could do that will change it if the ball's still in your hands. So the rush shot, I don't know if he knew it would have counted in the moment had he made that layup happen.
He kind of acknowledged afterwards that he wasn't necessarily thinking it was the shot clock expiring versus the game clock expiring.
I think he shot up a layup that he, in his mind, didn't think mattered. Just like you just kind of do that, you're a basketball player, you're halfway into your shot motion, and he kind of, halfwayed it, and it would have counted. And I think if there would have been that kind of, which I'm admitting it's a difficult spot, but if you're calling timeout with 7 seconds, I don't know what else you're talking about other than, hey, here's the inbound, here's the play, hey, here's what we do on a rebound. You probably don't think they're going to put the buzzer off in your own arena when the shot did connect to the rim, so I don't know what happened there.
Well, it can be a delayed response type thing too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I forget how bang it was, but you'll hear the buzzer sound when the shot clock goes off, and even if it at point 2, if you see the ball touch the rim, sometimes it still goes off because it doesn't reset in time, or turn off in time. It's a very tough situation.
It is.
I'm sure they go through a lot of those scenarios, right? Though, like it's all about trying to prepare your team as much as possible. I think they probably went through more of, okay, here's our second option, here's our third option, because 7 seconds is enough to have a second or a third option.
You're right.
And so,
but it was really just 5, right? It was really 5 on the shot clock. So
5 on the shot clock.
I wasn't in the huddle, so I hope that Dennis was on top of all of that. As it turned out, it just didn't work out right at the end of regulation. Even as things weren't going well in overtime, you had an opportunity because Arkansas continued to miss their free throws. Missouri continued to struggle with the thing they've struggled for, which is rebounding. I just couldn't collect enough rebounds and then make a shot when you did have a chance.
Well, look, in the first half of the game, it was fine.
Yeah.
Like what dug a hole for them in the first half were the turnovers, and you saw them brilliantly cut down on that problem in the second half to continue to build a lead in that game as much as they could, but then Arkansas storms back and just look, the bottom line to me, Brendan, I feel a little bit, not all the way, because Mizzou didn't win the game. They didn't finish the job in that sense, but I think my theory proved to be a little bit right. I thought Arkansas at one point was pretty darn gassed at that point in the game. Like in the second half, I saw a team lumbering up on offense with about 11 minutes to go, and Mizzou had more energy, and because of that, Jaden Stone stepped in front of a pass pretty easily and took it for a steal and score. Yeah, his first chance didn't go. Second chance, though, like he knew he was going to have more opportunities because Arkansas wasn't going to have more energy all of a sudden after that. Like that was the moment where I thought, okay, Mizzou can do this. Yeah. Look, Arkansas is a talented team that can keep in any game with how well they shoot it, and at times they were able to do that in this game here. But Mizzou has the chance to beat the door down and overwhelm this team, outlast this team. And so the fact that they didn't, Brendan,
and overtime happened as well.
Overtime happened,
now you're right. Arkansas had the tired legs at the line apparently because they were missing those key free throws, and they were still in just the standard bonus, so some front ends of 1-and-1s that didn't connect. But Missouri, I mean, the tired legs didn't seem to apply to Arkansas's rebounding because at times you just get a hand on the ball and you maybe get a second hand on the ball and then onto the ball, and maybe you have another opportunity there. But it just, it slipped away. It literally slipped away from them and was a hard pill to swallow to end the regular season.
Because quite literally the ball was slipping out of their hands.
It was, again, I mean, this was the Oklahoma game. It's soft hands. I don't understand. It's like the rebounding brain. There's a switch, and then once a ball touches the hands, it's like the rebounding brain and the rebounding instinct is gone for this team. And it's not like just one guy. It's as a collection of guys. It's like, oh no, is he going to get it? No, I'm going to, it bounced off my hand. Oh, I mean, it's been a commonality in too many of these losses where we can point back at rebounding, but it's not even necessarily just, looking at the raw rebound totals and say, hey, they were out rebounded. When you watch these games, there are too many of them where you go, if they just hold on to the rebounds that they do earn, they would probably end up being just fine in the rebounding category more often than not.
That was the frustrating part in that particular game, because there were several moments in the final minutes of regulation and the final minutes of overtime. We're like, they're in great position if they just clear that rebound, but just could not get it done. Joe texting in, Arkansas was without its best player, massive missed opportunity. I mean, certainly for that, but it just wasn't, it wasn't even just that. It was the fact that their bench was short. They not only had a 7-man rotation, but two of their guys fouled out by the end. And so like I have no clue who John Calipari was going to turn to next if they had another guy foul out. Like they were going to have to go to somebody that maybe hadn't played since the non-con. Like that's what they were up against. And they were still able to do it like hook. I mean,
you let him off the hook is what happened.
Thomas went off, and that was an opportunity for him to go off because Darius Acuff wasn't playing, and like that allowed him to make more shots. Painful to swallow that Trevin Brazil had the game that he did. He was awesome.
I said it on Friday. I hoped he would have a bad game. I didn't think he would, he was dominant.
And he hit the big shot in overtime to put him up 2 on the 3 when Mizzou was trying to get a stop and hold on to the lead. And that felt pretty tough, pretty bitter.
Everything about watching him play was tough the whole day, because Phillips and Burns, especially in the first half, it's like, I don't know. There are times where Phillips is a good rim protector, but the problem in that first half was no matter who the big on the floor was, it was either coming too easily for the guy coming into the lane and getting near the rim, or the second chance. I mean, you had 2 occasions where Brazil had the uncontested putback where nobody was in position to be able to box him out and to get a body on him and to be physical. I think when you're physical with Trevin Brazil, he doesn't always respond to that super well. But if you're just going to let him waltz right into the lane and clean everything up when the first man does his job, they just weren't in position to do the things that needed to happen to end up clearing out some of those possessions on the 2 first-half dunks that he had that were on just easy waltzing right through the paint and collecting the rebound and putting it in.
And look, it would have been awesome to grab that one under your belt in the sense that, you're not an 8 seed in the SEC tournament. You're at least a 5. You're a 4, actually.
Yeah. You'd have had the double bye, as it turns
Andy
out.
gave you the help you needed. And that's
which now I
part.
regret. I wish we didn't have, because I'd have preferred to be the 7 seed than the 8 seed.
Yeah, if Andy had lost that game, right? Yeah.
Even if you beat Kentucky, you're I mean, Florida is going to get their lick back if that rematch happens. I'm sorry, but they're tired of hearing
Mizzou and Florida.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I can promise you that Todd Golden will have his players with a, it'll be like the bullfighter in the red cape when it comes to this Mizzou team. Like, there's no reason that these guys should have beaten you the first time. If this rematch happens, Florida by 20. I mean, they're gonna take it a little bit personal that Missouri got the better of Florida before Florida really got rolling. But I think the same thing could happen with Kentucky. Like, I don't know your thoughts on that, Andy. There were moments as we're kind of watching the rest of the SEC unfold on Saturday late. A&M refusing to put away their game against LSU until finally in the third overtime. I mean, they had so many chances, but ultimately LSU is LSU. And so they, the Aggies end up getting away with that. But we were kind of watching to wonder what Missouri's path would be. And there was a path where Texas could have been potentially in their, same jurisdiction. Instead, it ends up being Kentucky. How do you view that? Because I think probably not the worst thing in the world. 2 teams Missouri had lost to. I didn't want to see Texas again because I thought, for the same reason that Trevin Brazil ended up being a bad matchup, Texas has a big that would have really been a bad matchup. It's not that Kentucky doesn't have guys with size, but I feel like Kentucky's going to do, if that matchup should happen, which we kind of assume that it will.
Yeah,
Kentucky's got other ways that they're going to try to beat you, and I think to their own detriment, because I would come inside on Missouri, and that would be the way that I would try and stop them. Texas did that to a T with their big guy to open everything else up for the guards. I just didn't want to see Texas again. Kentucky, maybe that's a losing endeavor as well. But at least if you lose to Kentucky, I don't think it hurts you in the seeding in the way that the committee's going to look at you.
Well, that's the main thing, is that Mizzou is in the business now of avoiding the bad loss. And I think for the most part,
they've done that.
To do so. They've done that.
LSU's not going to beat Kentucky. There is no chance.
LSU.
None.
Will show up as they're showing up as a shell of themselves over the last 2 weeks. Again, that coach is getting fired. And I think the players know it. It's just they'll try to fight for their coach and try to make it happen. And look, we've seen that happen in the SEC tournament before, when the last seed won a game for their coach that they knew was maybe out the door a little bit. Difference is the 14 was playing the 11. This is the 16 against the 9. That's the difference here.
Yeah, South Carolina got the win over this, which helped to create this for LSU finishing based on everything at the very bottom, which is kind of crazy because Missouri lost to them and they also lost to Ole Miss, but it is what it is. I mean, still a solid season, Andy. They got to the number that we said when it comes to conference wins. And yeah, my takeaway is I don't think Missouri wins a game in Nashville. However, as long as they keep it within single digits against Kentucky, I think the last time their seeding is going to be harmed by anything the Tigers did, anything involving Missouri, was the Tuesday in Norman. I don't think you harm yourself by going overtime and losing to Arkansas, even at home. I just think they stayed about stagnant in the eyes of how the committee will view that. And I think the same will be true against Kentucky as long as it's respectable. I don't think they're going to go downward based on anything they do. The question will be, is there movement around Missouri in terms of teams rising above their station or bid stealing that happens that could then call into question where the Tigers land. But the fact that it's Kentucky and not Texas, I think, barring a blowout, no loss is really going to harm you too much in the eyes of the committee, in my opinion.
No, that'll be what Mizzou tries to avoid at least, but we'll see. I actually am kind of optimistic of their chances to advance through this week. We'll dig more into it at 5:05.
Kentucky's strange, but we'll talk about it.
They're a strange team. I really do wonder which team shows up there after they most likely win their first game Wednesday. Look, their fans are always going to be filling up that building. No matter where they go,
they'll have support.
But I do question how they would approach this tournament. We'll talk more about it, but
I,
all in all, like it stung because you knew it was there for Mizzou this weekend, and it also I was really wanting that from Mark Mitchell, man.
He played his ass off. I mean, he was great.
He was just putting the team on his back every possession, and that's hard to do when every defender crashes down on you eventually on offense, the way that he had been playing in that one, but still was able to be effective. He was awesome from the free throw line, I thought.
He was great from the line as well. That was the thing I was going to bring up, is you don't even have that to say, oh, well, he could have made more free throws. 9 out of 11 is more than, more than enough.
Yeah, again,
to get where they needed him.
The team's been better there in that category recently. Even Sean Phillips has really improved his free throw shooting, and that's made a difference. I wanted that so sorely for him based on the fact that he was the best player on the floor. I even equate that to what Arkansas had with Malik Thomas. I know Thomas that was 5 of 6 of 3. He was unworldly too. I thought Mitchell was the player that deserved to have that win a little bit more, the way that he was playing. And you could see it afterwards. Like, he was emotional and he really wanted that. His teammates really wanted that for him. It's always hard when you lose a game like that, and then you got to do senior day, like right afterwards, after the game. Yeah, that's tough.
I think that's something that hopefully can be a chip on the shoulder a little bit and say, you know what, we as a group let Mark Mitchell down, because I think that everybody not named Mark Mitchell could have had a little bit more of a way to push them over the top. It's not to say others didn't play well. I thought Pierce had a nice game. I wish that end of game situation would have been a little bit more crisp, because I think if he knows that he has a chance to make that layup, he has time to get it off and focus on it in a way that allows them to just win the game without overtime. We saw a burst from Jaden Stone that I think was necessary. Andy, we've talked about, needing to see it from him, and ultimately 2 for 5 from 3, 4 for 7 from the field, there for the rebounding moments where you needed him. Sean Phillips, you kind of take the good with the bad. You get some scoring out of him. You talked about he made a few free throws, had some blocks where there was those moments of rim protection, had other moments where I feel like guys are out of position and it looks like it's a Phillips thing when maybe it's not just uniquely, the number 5's fault in that moment, but did some things well. I think though collectively anybody would tell you that, Mark Mitchell played about as close to a perfect game as you are going to find. Didn't even foul anybody. I mean, he was in control of himself on both ends of the floor. And the fact that they weren't able to win that, but let that be the chip on your shoulder and say, okay, he didn't win his last home game. There's no reason though that he, has to go out without a memorable run in this month, because based on the way the bubble went, I mean, that's the saving grace maybe for Missouri. The bubble had a terrible weekend as well.
Yeah.
All these bubble teams are going down to where I don't think really the Tigers lose any standing in that regard. You win, and it's not even a conversation. We're not talking about Missouri even remotely near the bubble. That's the frustration there, but I think they're going to be in, and when they're in, it may not be under ideal circumstances. I'm not ruling out the possibility of Dayton. They're squarely in play to have that happen if some bid stealing occurs. But there's no reason that this team can't rally around that and say, we got a bad taste in our mouth because we didn't get Mark Mitchell the senior day that he deserved, but let's not let it end there. We're going to try and do something for him and have some fun in the month of March.
Or text us at 875-KTGR if you want to weigh in. I recall Mark Mitchell at least missed the second game Mizzou played in Nashville last year, right? Against Florida.
Yes, he did. Yes, he got injured in that previous game, if memory serves, and didn't play against the Gators. Yeah.
And so, like, if you get a chance to beat this Kentucky team and then have a rematch with them, we'll see. I kind of look a little favorably against what, like, it looks like a tough way to get going in the tournament, but I have a little bit of optimism about how the Tigers can do here. So we'll get to that at 5:05.
I can't wait to hear it.
Well,
because I don't see any spreads out for Wednesday, but I will be hammering United States currency on Kentucky's spread to just blow Louisville out, or not Louisville, LSU. And then I guess maybe to your point, we'll see if they have the legs for a lengthy run in this tournament to the Kentucky Wildcats. But I just think Kentucky's going to be tough. So we might go into 5:05 with a little bit of a little bit of a butting heads. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts, though.
All right, so we'll talk about that, but we do have to get to the big Chiefs news of the day. We were wondering what type of running back they'd get. How much can they spend on a running back? Well, it turns out they can spend more than apparently more than anybody else is willing to spend for the best one in the free agency market. So we'll talk about the Chiefs landing their big splash to try and change up their running game next year on the Big Show, KTGR.
This the latest edition of The Big Show? Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now, wherever you get your apps.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. Wintertime can be very hard on your vehicle, so don't neglect it at all during this month. Be sure to take it into Lee's Tire Company for regular maintenance. They can check fluids. They can check tire pressure. They also have a great technical team that can take care of larger projects if you need those done. But of course, they're the tire experts. So they'll check your tires to make sure they're in tip-top shape, check the alignment. And if you need new tires, they've got a huge selection. So chances are it won't be hard to find the right ones for you. And you can also save by getting tires at Lee's Tire Company. Every single month, they run specials to put money back in your pocket if you need new tires. Go and check out leestirecompany.com for all of those specials that are happening now. And be sure to visit them on the Business Loop in Columbia or at University Garage, where they have a large location right by the MU campus. They're also in Centralia, or shop online for tires anytime at leestirecompany.com. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it, leestirecompany.com.
The Como Man Show is almost here. This Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Events Center, where the Boone County Fair is held. You can win prizes in the hot wing eating contest or enter to win prizes like sweet tickets to a Mizzou game, iron rocking chairs with a fire pit, Royals pub table, concert tickets, and more, with food trucks and tasty beverages available. Plus, a portion of the proceeds will be given to the VIP Veteran Pack program. General admission and VIP tickets on sale now at ComoManShow.com. Do-it-yourself projects are getting a lot more popular, and that's great. Some things you gotta leave to the pros, like welding. Think of it like watching your favorite team and yelling at the guy who biffed the play that you so easily could have made. No, you couldn't. Or you'd be out there doing it. Leave the sports to the pros and the welding to Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. Repair work to custom fabrication. Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside. Kretsch'sCustomExteriors.com.
Now through March 31st at Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto, get up to $180 back on a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Get up to $80 back when you purchase 4 eligible Bridgestone tires, plus up to an extra $100 back when you use your CFNA credit card. Upgrade your ride and save big today at any Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto location. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. Visit BridgestoneRewards.com for details.
Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto, keeping Missouri rolling since 1949.
Paradise doesn't have to be far away. Sometimes it's a quiet walk through a state park. Sometimes it's your favorite takeout and a night in. At Shangri-La, we believe that cannabis belongs in those everyday moments, not as an escape, but as part of living well. That's why we offer 20% off select category every day, plus 20% off store-wide every Sunday. Thoughtful products, honest guidance, real value. Shangri-La, discover paradise. Learn more at ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
As we get into the heart of basketball season, 1851 Underground Tap and Grill wants to remind you, whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you want to plop down with some friends and watch some of that college conference action on TV, they've got a spot for you. Your favorite cold beer or cocktail and delicious appetizer or dinner options on the menu. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's no secret that it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
We want your thoughts on Mizzou basketball, the loss to Arkansas, the path in the SEC tournament. They're the 8th seed. They'll play Thursday. The first game on Thursday at 11:30. Pregame begins at 11 right here on KTGR, and it'll most likely be against Kentucky. Mizzou beat Kentucky earlier in the year. So there's that. It'll maybe be a tougher challenge this time around to beat them twice. But we'll see what it looks like down the line and see how Kentucky looks in that first game against LSU on Wednesday. Let's get to some Chiefs talk, though. Oh, man, Brendan. I had a feeling they'd have a big splash. Like, we would know the answer to the running back question pretty early. I had it at about 35-40% Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
Maybe
that was my concern, actually.
Right? Yeah. Like all that.
Him.
I had it at maybe another 30% to 35 at around Tyler Algier, which would have been also, like, okay, fine. That's better than what was here before. I left about 20% open, though, for them to be like, you know what? Let's take the big swing. Let's go get Kenneth Walker. I didn't think it was the most likely option, but I maybe saw it as more likely as other folks who saw the Chiefs situation were like, why would you spend that much on a running back? They never do that. They always find the retreads and they turn them into good players. Never thought they would do that. But I kind of left it open to see, like, look, the Chiefs love overcorrections like this. When things go terribly the season before, they love to just jump 2 feet first into something that maybe they've not done in the past and try something here. They're doing that with Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. More expensive, I think, than what Etienne ended up going to the Saints. I don't know the exact reported contract for him. I think it was a longer deal, 4 years, but the length, it's hard to really know because usually the last year or two of these deals they're often voidable and they're not real contracts like in baseball. If they say, hey, this is the money, it's not the guaranteed money when it comes to football. For Ken Walker, it's like, is it 28.3? Is that the number for the guarantee?
I think that's the guarantee.
Something like that.
Could be worth as much as $45 million over 3 years with the incentives.
Yeah, so it's a big deal. It's a big boy contract for a position of need, for sure. I actually didn't think it was very likely they would get Algier. That's just what I wanted them to do, because I thought they would then be open to then drafting another running back and potentially, having a really dynamic room. Now I'm hopeful that Brashard Smith can carve out a role behind Ken Walker, and Walker is obviously supposed to be the go-to guy. I didn't want Etienne because I feel like you'd have been paying for him off of his best season as a guy who's getting up there in running back years. Now, then they go and sign the reigning Super Bowl MVP. That's clearly paying for somebody off of the best performance that they'll ever have. And so there's a sticker shock associated with that. That would be my concern. But they're making the money work. I think they realized it was time to make a splash at this position and try it that way. I do worry a little bit that we're going to come to find out that the different things that the Seattle coaching staff felt about Ken Walker as they allowed Zach Charbonnet to be the goal line back until he was hurt. The only reason we saw the emergence of Walker and him doing what he did during the playoffs is because the guy that they preferred for that role got injured and tore his ACL. Now, Walker was tremendous, but did he parlay that forced opportunity into this massive payday where some of those concerns that existed about him fumbling, about his decision-making at times with the ball in his hands, could those end up rearing their ugly head over the course of his Chiefs career? We'll find out, but he's 25 years old instead of 27 going on 28. And to me, that is important. I at least want to assume that I'm getting the prime years of my running back if I'm going to spend big on him. I think that's what they get with Ken Walker, that I was concerned with Etienne that might not have been the case.
So with Walker, though, you think there's more of a chance, though, that you're getting the best of him over these next 3 years.
You'll get his best. You'll get some of his best years, and you can maybe thank Seattle for the idea that not only did it help them to kind of roll with that duo and have Charbonnet handle a big bulk of the work throughout the season, and it wasn't just this season. This was going back a couple of years. And it helped him during the playoffs to be fresh and be great, right? Well, maybe that helps the Chiefs as well. They're getting a guy with fresher legs. Travis Etienne had a lot of work on him this year.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're going to have a 25, and he doesn't turn 26 until October, so the season will have already started. Running back that, you can get 2 good years out of, and, the third year of a contract, we'll see if that even ends up happening. But I feel like even if it does, there's still an age there that falls within the range where it could work out for Ken Walker. I do wonder what happens if he kind of, reverts back to some of those tendencies that I think had him on maybe a little bit of a lesser leash with the coaching staff in Seattle until they had no other choice. But I think he's clearly the most explosive player and running back in this free agent class. And if you're the Chiefs and you have a lot of other things going for you, like the quarterback that you have, yes, give him a toy, give him a weapon in that backfield that can take some of the pressure off. So I like the move. There are some potential drawbacks to it, but I don't think you could spend time worrying about what those would be if you were the Chiefs in this moment. You had to make some type of move to upgrade that running back room, and they've found the leader for it.
And I clearly think the good outweighs the bad. Like, yeah, there could be some fumble issues. There could be some inconsistency issues. You might have to rely upon a second back to change things up, to have a pass catcher. Ken Walker's not really that type.
He can do it a little bit.
I mean, from that sense, sure, but also the fact that, the Chiefs run a lot of RPO, and that's where the bulk of the carries came for their running backs in the past. Ken Walker is not necessarily as experienced with that. So it'll be interesting to see how the Chiefs, whether decide to cater to him a little bit more as far as how he has run the football with the Seahawks, or if they want him to acclimate to it. In that case, I do think you need a strong second option, whether it's Brashard Smith. I wouldn't rule out, spending a third or fourth round pick on it, though, on a running back to see if they'll bring somebody in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They drafted Smith in the 7th. I like him, but there's no reason to say that that expenditure should negate you from pursuing a mid-round running back if you end up finding somebody that works. And we saw how great it worked for Seattle to kind of save Ken Walker. And then when they needed him most, he ended up being able to come through for them. But that doesn't mean to me suddenly, the Chiefs should put 25 carries a game on this guy. I don't know that that's necessarily what they'll be looking to do.
I don't even think that's the model in the NFL right now. I think in the NFL, you need unless you have Derrick Henry. Like Derrick Henry, give him the ball 25 times a game.
But he's only on the field half the game. Like if he's in the game, he's running it at his age, but he's not on the field very often as much as you might think either. You don't freak out about having a dual back system, because we can also see the benefit of having one if your 1A ends up going down to an injury. It's good to have the other guy.
It's just that's the rare case of when you get a player like that, sure, you feature him, you give him all these carries, and you don't worry about who might be backing him up all the time. Most other NFL teams have to make sure they've got two guys they rely upon that are maybe a little different from each other in that sense. But the fact that Walker brings to the table what I don't think a Chiefs running back has brought to the table in at least 8 years.
Kareem Hunt as a rookie.
Right. Game-breaking ability, explosive runs. The Chiefs face way too many too high safety looks, and it stagnates their offense. They can't get unstuck from those situations. They need a guy that defenses can respect to every so often. Hey, maybe we do need to devote an extra guy to the box to make sure that guy doesn't get loose again.
Yep.
And so you just need a few of those. A few of those can turn the tide for an offense that has never been able to feature that in their offense during this dynasty that they have created. So we could see a different looking Chiefs offense get this done based on bringing in Kenneth Walker now. And so now it's about, okay, how do you mix that in with what Kenneth Walker does versus how you can then unlock Mahomes, so you can unlock some of these receivers? Does this help Xavier Worthy to finally get some deep shots that we were waiting for? That is what you bring Kenneth Walker in to do, to allow for the rest of the playbook to be more available to you for more of the game.
I completely agree with that and feel like Walker can accomplish it. I wonder what was going through the decision makers' minds of the Kansas City Chiefs watching that Super Bowl and watching the way that Ken Walker, would break off 14, 15, 16-yard runs. Yeah. And it's because Mahomes has been fighting that uphill climb because people don't respect their running game. They still tried to use it. We'd always talk about the Chiefs establishing the run. It just would never really happen. And we talked about the guys that were in their room as very replacement level type of running backs. And now you've got a guy with some home run ability. And I think you hit a home run early in a game with Ken Walker, that is going to force the defense and the defensive coordinator on the other side to have to make some difficult decisions about how you try and stop this Chiefs offense. And even when it comes to, Walker out of the backfield as a pass catcher, sometimes has a little bit of trouble hauling in the ball and not dropping it. But once he gets ahead of steam, I think he can be an effective guy with the ball in his hands, even in the receiving game. So you talk about, having to respect that aspect of the offense as well, leaking out of the backfield. He can hit home runs in a number of ways. And I do think that it all adds up to, the Chiefs are going to be in a much more favorable position as they game plan, knowing that, hey, you got to pay attention to this guy. If you don't, you're gonna pay for it.
Call or text us, 875-KTGR. Chiefs making big moves on the first day of spring. Did I say spring training?
Well, you know what? You were going to, but we should call it something different than legal tampering because that's not even what it is.
Free agency is what I was going
it's
for.
Free agency that you can't sign. Like, that's really all it is,
Yeah,
right?
it's pretty much, I suppose. The league year has begun. First day of the league year.
Yeah. So anyhow.
Yeah, legal tampering. Yeah. Oh,
it doesn't
we
make any
knew
sense
right
that we
away.
call it
Like,
that.
we got that done in an hour without having to talk to Kenneth Walker at all. Sure, believe
Yeah.
us on that. No, come on.
Yeah.
That was...
Hey, but it was the move that we were anticipating when we talked about who will they sign first. We kind of went through the list of running backs, thinking that would probably be where things would start in free agency, and it kind of did.
Yeah.
Although we get some Travis Kelce, update as well. That's looks like that's going to be happening
because you needed an answer on that too, so that you
Yep.
could operate the rest of the way. And look, it was odd a little bit to see the reports yesterday of like, oh yeah, he wants to come back. He wants to play in the NFL again for 14th season. It's not a guarantee that it's going to be with the Chiefs. Dan Rossini put that out. I think one other reporter
there's
put
always
that
a
out.
reason, right?
Maybe that was just one side's way to say, look, we need to come to our number here for how much money this is going to take to make it happen. Do you think it was the Chiefs or Kelce that had to come to the number, essentially?
I think it was a little bit probably a dance by both parties and uncomfortable, right? Because there was the lingering question of, because of the high profile nature of his off the field stuff, we're like, would he even want to come back and play? Would he even want to go through this again? And then once he's decided that that's what he wants, the foregone conclusion was like, well, it's going to be with the Chiefs. And it is, but like, it might have been a little bit of some uncomfortable moments there. And that's the business of it. And I'm glad that kind of gets shooed away and worked out without having to draw it out. We kind of heard radio silence on Kelce for a while, but in reality, we didn't have to hear anything yet at that point in time because nothing was needing to happen. There was no date on the calendar to accelerate matters. Now that date has arrived, I think it was natural that, okay, quick resolution, figure it out. Maybe a little bit of weirdness of one side or the other trying to play things through the media to get a better deal. But I don't think anybody, nobody's going to hold that over the other party. It's going to happen the way that it was designed to happen with him coming back in as an ancillary piece. I think when you sign a Kenneth Walker, that's part of the deal. You sound unsure about it.
Well, again, I'm looking at because I didn't know the number for Kelce yet. Now I'm looking at the number. It's 12 million, Brendan.
Yeah.
12 million.
That's all right. That's what you weren't going to have like a huge reduction. I don't know what he made the previous year, but like it was still going to be a notable salary. And
look,
you don't think he brings that on field value at that price?
I think fans are going to be a little upset with it. Now, here's the thing. I think it is worth a lot of things that don't show up in the stats are worth it to keep Travis Kelce around, right? The whole leadership aspect of it. I think, again, run blocking is an underrated part of his game. And now the Chiefs have a home run hitting running back. So you have more of a chance to have those happen for you. So that's kind of what I was looking for to I would maybe hope that he's only here for 7 figures instead of 8, but I understand it's kind of a tough thing to ask a guy like that to do. I would have still just said though, like, hey, guess what? We're bringing in Kenneth Walker. We're about to get another Super Bowl. You can take $9 million. It's fine.
You're marrying into some money. I think I heard in the news.
I've seen you with this person before.
I think I saw a Google alert about that.
Yeah.
But no, I think you're right in the comment you made about it's hard to ask him to play for pennies and to be like, here's what your on-field value is, and to like, I can hear it already from some Chiefs fans kind of saying, well, the dollars and cents of it, may not make sense if he has X amount of catches for X amount of yards and doesn't score as many touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I do think it's difficult to look at it through that lens. It reminds me of sort of late career Yadier Molina with the Cardinals, where it was like, yeah, he's still kind of making Yadier Molina money and the production might be down a little bit, but you, rather than like make that into a thing and risk blowing this whole thing up and having a lot of egg on your face as the Chiefs, because it becomes very public that your beloved player is unhappy with, the way you're treating him. I think that is a perfectly fine way for it to go down. And maybe that's why the weirdness yesterday, right? With a little bit of, is it going to be with the Chiefs? I think it was all going to be resolved, but that's part of the reason that it gets resolved at the number that it gets resolved at, so that there's not any, because the downside would be, we'd be talking about it for a different reason, right? If it had drug out a little bit longer.
So Travis Kelce back with the Chiefs. Is that the right move? What kind of impact can he make in his 14th season in the NFL, all with the Chiefs? We'll talk more Chiefs at 5:25. Tell us what you think about the moves to get Kenneth Walker in, bring back Travis Kelce. They also added to the nose tackle room to bring in Tonga from New England. So that's an interesting one too. And we'll talk more about that at 5:25. But Under the Bus is coming up next. Bruce Pearl is becoming quite the flip-flopper on TV. I suppose that's what you need to do nowadays. He's to acclimate to the role. But he has done a complete 180 on this whole Miami, Ohio stuff.
Okay.
That's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Ben Hermes, and this live local Sports Center is brought to you by Lease Tower Company. If it's round and rubber, Lease sells it. LeaseTowerCompany.com. Mizzou men's basketball fell on their senior day this past Saturday to Arkansas, 88-84. Senior Mark Mitchell led all scorers in the game, posting a career-high 32 points in his final regular season game at Mizzou Arena. Additionally, it was announced earlier today that by the conference that Mitchell received all SEC second-team honors. The Tigers finished the regular season with a record of 20-11, finishing 8th in the SEC with a standing of 10-8 throughout conference play. The Tigers are the 8th seed in the SEC men's basketball tournament, receiving a single bye. Their first game will be this Thursday, March 12th, against the winner of Kentucky and LSU, with tip-off from Nashville at 11:30 a.m. right here on KTGR. And the Kansas City Chiefs have signed running back Kenneth Walker III. It was announced earlier today. Walker, who was named Super Bowl MVP just over a month ago, inked a 3-year contract worth over $43 million, with nearly $29 million fully guaranteed. Walker totaled over 1,700 scrimmage yards and 4.5 yards per carry last season, including the playoffs. Additionally, tight end Travis Kelce has announced that he agreed to a 1-year, $12 million contract to return to the Chiefs for his 14th season. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is brought to you by API. At API Project Fitness, former MU football players Darrell Jackson and Michael Egnew will take your fitness to the next level with group classes, personal training, and training for youth athletes. APIProjectFitness.com.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking partly cloudy skies with mild temperatures tonight as we drop down to about 60 degrees. Tomorrow is breezy with near record highs again. It's an ABC 17 Storm Track weather alert day. We'll get up into the 80s during the day. We'll see a chance of storms popping up in the evening, potentially bringing large hail, the threat of a tornado or two, and strong winds with heavy rain. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
On Simmons Field,
swinging a ground ball, hit past third and the left. That's a base hit.
And across the SEC,
fastball, swing and a miss. He struck him out.
The Tigers are ready to roar.
There it goes, long drive, deep right field. That is gone.
This is your radio home for Mizzou baseball.
The Tigers win this one in a walk-off here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
To you, they're basically invisible. Tiny, weird, winged insects. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Not exactly. You see, while you're living your best human life above ground, there could be up to 1 million termites foraging for wood underneath your home. Steve's Pest Control needs you to know that termites are a serious problem. Like up to $5 billion a year serious. Oh, and that homeowner's insurance you've got? Yeah, termite damage isn't covered. In Missouri, it's not a matter of if you're going to get termites, it's when. A termite queen can lay over 20,000 eggs a day. and their colonies could house up to 1 million termites each. Upgrade your 5-star service with Steve's to the 5-star Advantage plan. In most cases, for less than $1.50 per day, you can show those termites that the Centricon system and Steve's Pest Control are a serious threat too.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
My name is Josh. I am an exterior project specialist with True Sun Exteriors and Interiors. If you are living in an aging home, you may start noticing items around your home that need repair or replacement. For example, your roof, shingles blowing off, roof leak pop up over time. If you're in an aging home and you look at your windows, you may start to see fogging up between the glass so you can't quite get it clean, or sashes that don't quite open just right and don't lock just right. With something like siding, you're going to notice that your paint is fading, and that may be a sign it's getting old. Maybe the vinyl siding on your home is brittle. And finally, if you have a deck, this is a common item of failure. Your stairs start to get a little wobbly and feel unsafe. If you notice any of these things happening to your home, give us a call and we'll let you know whether it be repair or replacement. We're going to take care of you.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
The Como Man Show is almost here. This Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Events Center where the Boone County Fair is held. You can win prizes in the hot wing eating contest or enter to win prizes like sweet tickets to a Mizzou game, iron rocking chairs with a fire pit, Royals pub table, concert tickets, and more. With food trucks and tasty beverages available. Plus, a portion of the proceeds will be given to the VIP Veteran Pack program. General admission and VIP tickets on sale now at ComoManShow.com.
When it comes to tree care, knowledge matters. And Advanced Tree Solutions doesn't just cut, they care. Educate, communicate, and protect the health of your trees. Whether for homeowners associations, golf courses, apartment complexes, you name it. And it's one less thing to worry about. With expert service and yearly discounts, your business and your trees are in good hands. Call Eric at Advanced Tree Solutions today. Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend. AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com. Step into a real-life snow globe with Zimmer Communications and Colette Travel on this 9-day European vacation. Stroll Prague, Dresden, Vienna, and Budapest. From castles and cathedrals to twinkling market stalls. Sip warm Glühwein, shop handcrafted gifts, and even visit a family-run candy workshop. Learn more by joining us in Colette Travel Tuesday, March 17th at 5:30 at Courtyard Marriott Columbia on Lamone Industrial Boulevard. RSVP today at ZimmerCommunications.com.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
It's time to go under the bus on the big show.
I don't think Bruce Pearl's going to make it that far in television or punditry or whatever you want to call it.
I don't know. We're talking about him a lot, and sometimes that's all it takes.
That's true.
To be honest.
I mean, flip-flopping can certainly get you there, right?
I think so.
Saying one thing and then going a complete 180 and saying the other thing. He said for short, no, don't let Miami, Ohio in the tournament. Don't care if they go undefeated. Don't let them in. They shouldn't be in. They don't win their conference tournament to get the automatic bid. No team from that conference should be in, even if you win all of your games. Well, now that Miami, Ohio has won all of their regular season games, he now wants to see two teams from the MAC make it. He wants to see Akron, who he thinks is actually the best team in the MAC, win the conference championship, and then have Miami, Ohio also still make it as an at-large.
Fascinating.
Wow. Goodness.
He's just out here saying stuff.
So all of a sudden he was arguing against Miami, Ohio in favor of, obviously, his son's team and his former team that is right now, according to Joe Inardi, the last team in. Oh, boy. But now he wants to see Akron steal that bid away, apparently.
Right, because that's exactly what I think he's just doing the thou doth protest too much to be like, okay, I have to kind of make up for it when everybody said I was doing a disservice. Now my son's taking flack because of my mouth. And because I think people did notice and said, kind of a nepotism angle to this whole thought process from you, and so I think he just went in the other direction to kind of take some of the heat off. That's my take.
Completely the other direction.
Right.
All of a sudden, the MAC is a 2-bid league, according to one.
Once Lenardi put him back in, he's like, "No, Auburn should be knocked out by Akron." Like, okay,
yeah, sure,
whatever.
That's good.
Under the bus.
It's all well and good from Bruce Pearl, right? Okay. Also, under the bus to this Brazilian Championship soccer match, which admittedly just learning most about it today, even though I'm the soccer guy.
Yeah,
but,
you're the guy.
Yeah, I know. But this was a championship match in Brazil for their leagues, and it was a 1-0 finish, and there was a brawl at the very end. Right towards like 30 seconds left in stoppage time, that type of thing. Goalie makes a save and then gets tackled by an opponent after making the save. And then a huge brawl ensues. It takes like at least 10 minutes to get this all situated. In the end, Brendan, would you like to guess how many red cards were given out?
It's either 0 or 22.
It was 23.
Oh my gosh! Dang it!
23.
I thought it was onto something. I'm like, he's either
23
complaining
red
because
cards.
nobody was red carded.
Oh,
or
yeah.
everybody was.
Yeah. No, in this case, it was everyone. I don't even know if it was only players. It probably wasn't only players. It may have also been maybe a coach or a staff member, or I don't know. But
is it 11 per side on the field at a time? Is
11 per side, yeah.
And then one other guy got it too, I guess, somebody off the bench.
Yeah, had to be, right?
That's why I thought I was onto something with 22.
Right, yeah, exactly. You had to count up how many you had given out to each team to make sure that you had enough players on the field.
In soccer, do they just let time expire because there's
I can't remember if they started it up again.
With who?
Like that's a great question. I really don't know. I don't know if there's video, but either way, 23 red cards. Yeah, that's the most. Those are the most ejections I've heard of any sporting event.
I think it's about as many as you could have.
Like that's more than the Mouse at the Palace, right? I think.
Well, sure. I mean, you talk about basketball. There's rosters aren't even big enough to have more than that.
No, those are 2 full rosters right there. 23. That's just.
Under the bus.
I guess in theory, a football game, you could do it, but I don't really know. People start swinging their helmets. It would have to take a lot of video review to figure out who to eject, but that's my best thought.
It's time for the sweetest thing in sports on The Big Show.
How about this? Mark Mitchell, all SEC selection for 2 years in a row. He's on the second team. That's awesome. And he absolutely deserves it. He was by far Mizzou's best player this year. Points, rebounds, and assists in those categories. Oh, but I wanted to see him on the first team.
I did too.
I'm looking at Thomas Houck, and I get it.
You even have a name.
You better have a name if you're trying to advocate for it, right? That you could replace on the team. I don't know of any of the other ones that you could take. Like Jacoby Gillespie was awesome. Obviously, Darius Acuff, Player of the Year. LeBaron Flylon had to be on there. I forget who else. But Thomas Houck had very similar stats to Mark Mitchell. And I think Mitchell even outpaced him in the points and the assists per game. But Thomas Houck plays for Florida. So
and Florida's good.
And Florida's really good.
Pretty good.
I think that was their only, there had to be a representative on the first team from Florida, right?
I think so.
They're that good. So, yeah. Okay. But I think Mark Mitchell is all SEC first team caliber and will have more chances to show it here in the postseason for Mizzou.
Yeah. That's like I saw with the Big Ten how, even just at the guard spot alone, somebody was talking about how are you supposed to choose when there's like 5 to 7 guys? It's a deep league with a lot of different teams, right? You're up to 16 teams. And so, yeah, Mark Mitchell, at least getting that recognition on the second team was the floor. If it would have been lower than that, I would have had some problems. But he's been stupendous.
So congrats to him, and we'll see him and the rest of the team in Nashville this week. First game is on Thursday. Is this, in fact, a bad tournament path? It sure seems like it, but I have a little bit of optimism as to how it can go. And it all starts with run, right? See if you can get rolling. You would have a tough Florida opponent right afterwards, but I'm kind of looking at it favorably. Maybe I'm wrong in doing so, but I'll explain why coming up at 5:05. And was it the right move to bring back Travis Kelce? Will it make an impact for the Chiefs? We'll talk about it at 5:25. We'll also give away Como Man Show tickets at 5:20. Be listening.
What happens when a chef, 2 pharmacists, and a financial analyst walk into a bar? They buy it. And then they tell people from all walks of life to come enjoy it with them. Big flavors, bigger burgers, local brews, handcrafted drinks, and a game of pool or two. See, billiards was built by people like you. A teacher, a receptionist, and a cashier walk into billiards. What happens next is up to you.
Looking on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway.
Call your shot at billiardsonbroadway.com.
I'm one of them, wishing for warmer weather. In the current issue of Inside Columbia Magazine, pull up a chair with our dining guide and see the best outdoor patio and rooftop hotspots. Don't miss a single event, party, or fundraiser in the community calendar. And a delicious battle is on as we debate a critical question: who has the best pizza in town? It's all Inside Columbia Magazine. Get your copy today at break time convenience stores or have it delivered at insidecolumbia.net.
The best thing about spring is that there's no single best thing about spring. It's all good. Golfing, peeing off the deck. Grilling, peeing off the deck. You can do everything outside again. Peeing off the deck. Practice your aim at cornhole and peeing off your crutch's deck. You don't want to hit those railing posts. All the beauty and fun of spring just go better with Crutch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside. See what they can do for you at CrutchesCustomExteriors.com.
Farming comes with pride and pressure. Long days, unpredictable weather, rising costs, and worries that don't quit. You don't have to carry that stress alone. Talking helps. Show Me Strong Farm Families offers free, confidential telehealth counseling with professionals who understand agriculture. Search Show Me Strong Farm Families and take the first step. Call 573-882-4677 because talking helps. Brought to you by University of Missouri Extension.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa plans to sign a one-year deal with Atlanta after Miami releases him later this week. Atlanta's in the QB market with Michael Penix Jr. still recovering from knee surgery and Kirk Cousins set to be released before the new league year starts. It is the end of an era for the Buccaneers on this opening day of NFL free agency. Receiver Mike Evans leaving Tampa after a dozen years to sign a 3-year deal with the 49ers worth up to $60 million. Evans' decision explained by ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler.
He wanted a few things. He wanted a brilliant play caller. He wanted an elite quarterback. He wanted the chance to win a Super Bowl, and he wanted a lot of targets. He will get all 4 in San Francisco, which was sneaky in the receiver market. They looked at Alec Pierce and Romeo Doubs and some of these top options. They landed on Mike Evans, which can change their offense. He can still really play at a high level in his 30s.
Chiefs landed a Super Bowl MVP, improved their ground game. Kenneth Walker III, 3 years, $43 million with Kansas City. Center Tyler Linderbaum to the Raiders, 3 years, $81 million, $60 million in guaranteed money.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to save money. When you bundle your auto policy with home, condo, or renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit Progressive.com.
From Faroe. 15 to the 10, to the house. Bush. Back to the wall, and it's got her. And Arrowhead. Touchdown! Kansas City! To your speakers. This is the big show, baby. Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is the Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
It's SEC Tournament Week. We have a bracket. We know what it looks like. We know the spot that Mizzou drew in it. I think we can all agree that it's not the best, but I still have some optimism into how Mizzou can do here later this week in Nashville, most likely playing Kentucky in that first game. We'll talk about what the path could look like for the Tigers here in a few minutes. You can call or text us with what you think at 875-KTGR and be listening at 520. We'll give you a chance to win some Como Man Show tickets if you're a Mizzou basketball fan. Be ready and listening over at that time. You'll have a chance to answer a trivia question, and we'll give you a chance to win some tickets. Plus, we'll talk more Chiefs. Big moves today, and one of them including bringing back Travis Kelce. Does it mean that he'll make another big impact this year? We'll talk about it at 5:25. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Yeah, that was a bummer on Saturday. 88-84, the loss to Arkansas in overtime for Mizzou men's basketball. Mark Mitchell was marvelous. That's probably the worst part of it all. On his senior day, scores 32, and they weren't able to get the win for him. He played great. Tigers played pretty well overall in this game. I mean, they forced overtime against an Arkansas team that was favored coming in. You just felt like with Darius Acuff out, this was an opportunity for Mizzou, and the game played out that way too. You had the Trent Pierce layup that I don't really think you knew it would have counted at the end of regulation because the shot clock buzzer went off. He might have thought it was the game clock and just kind of threw it up meaninglessly. Overtime, they couldn't corral the rebounds necessary to get back in that game. It was kind of a tough watch, but I don't think ultimately it hurts them when it comes to NCAA tournament seeding. However,
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
it does kind of burn them when it comes to Nashville. Yeah, the SEC tournament seed is number 8. They're playing the winner of Kentucky LSU. That's going to be Kentucky. And if somehow they get by the Wildcats, yeah, Florida is who will await. That's a tough draw. I think Florida's probably licking its chops to get another crack at Mizzou. Andy, though, sees a path for the Tigers in Nashville, and I'm looking forward to hearing it coming up.
Number 3.
Chiefs news, Kenneth Walker is a Chief, and so is Travis Kelce still. Newsworthy day as the legal tampering period, still ridiculously dumb name, begins. $28.7 million in guarantees for Walker on a 3-year deal. Could be worth up to $45 million with incentives. A big splashy signing for a position that needed it, even with the concern that he starts fumbling again. I like getting the younger running back in Walker than, say, Travis Etienne, who signed for a similar amount. And by the way, Travis Kelce coming back, I think that's good to see. I'm not that worried about what the cost was. I just like that he's back for another year.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it. Hey, it's not SEC play yet, but Mizzou baseball still deserves its flowers for the way things have been trending. A bit bleak on Friday when the Tigers fell behind UIC 12-1, but the game was suspended due to weather, and Mizzou came back Saturday and got the win 13-12, and then 7-0 in the second game of the day. They didn't allow a run all day on Saturday. The win streak is now 11 games, and this is the best start to a season for Mizzou since 2017.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
All right, we're going to rely on the AI overview because it's faster. Maximum ejections in an MLB game, 17, NHL 16. Nobody's touching that soccer ejection.
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Does it even top the football? Like above a football game? Do we know the number there?
So like I said, we're trusting the AI overview, which means we're going to miss some things.
Well, yeah.
They wanted to show me MLB, NHL, and NBA. Malice at the Palace setting the record for NBA with 9, which you brought up. Yeah. NHL 16 were ejected in a game on March 5th, 2004 between the Flyers and the Senators. That also set the record for penalty minutes with 419. Major League Baseball, the record, 17 ejections on August 12th, 1984. San Diego Padres involved in that. According to the AI overview, it all might be wrong, but I thought, real quick, let's see if there's anything like the 23 ejections in your Brazilian soccer game.
I would think that there would be a game that is remembered by AI if in fact it was something higher than what you saw. So I somewhat trust it.
There's not really brawls in NFL games the same way either.
No.
You know, I think part of that, maybe I'm wrong, but just spitballing off the top, the guys are wearing helmets. It's a little bit harder to see the facial expressions, and to get personal on that level, you're always jawing with somebody, but to like when you push around a guy in football, it's just like pushing. They'll call it unnecessary roughness or unsportsmanlike conduct. I don't think you get the level of brawling because they're all wearing pads. It's like, how much damage are you going to do to somebody in pads? You know,
you don't see it much in the NFL because those players have more to lose there with that.
But every sport, that should be true. That all these
that
like
is
MLB
true.
players have a lot to lose, but sometimes you get the big.
I
big
mean,
brawl.
we kind of see it though. At like the lower levels of football, like not necessarily in college, maybe small colleges or like high schools or something like that. And we would never know the actual answer to how many ejections there were in a singular game there. But that's hard to top. 23 red cards.
I know it.
Game in Brazil.
The AI overview, I asked about NFL specifically, but it doesn't crack the top 3 of the other major sports.
No.
They believe the record is only 5. There was a brawl in 2020 between the Dolphins and Bengals. Devontae Parker, Mac Hollins, Xavier Howard, Sean Williams, and Tyler Boyd of Cincinnati. So, like, NFL, there hasn't maybe been that type of brawl, at least that comes to mind for
Usually,
me. That you say, get out
one
of here.
player will lose their cool and and just go ballistic, or 2 players will get in a fight and be like, okay, you 2 out. It usually doesn't go to the level of whole teams. So
yeah. The AI overview, I asked about it for a college football game, and they took it a different direction. They told me that 51 fans were ejected in the game between Michigan and Ohio State on November 25th, 2023. I don't know why, but the causes range from the causes range from. I don't think it was necessarily anything that happened on television. Reminds me of like the Texas A&M Aggie police Twitter account that will keep you updated on game days of like fans. It says on AI overview, again, take it with a grain of salt, but it says the charges range from fraud. I don't know. Maybe they tried to sneak in the game to public urination. That probably was the bulk of the 51, if I had to guess.
Okay. I mean, I don't even want to guess what the breakdown was on the charges involved for everybody there.
I want to know what the guy who got charged with fraud was doing. I want to know what happened there.
875-KTGR. Give us a call or a text with your thoughts on ejections in games. 23 ejections in that Brazilian championship match over the weekend. That is a lot, right at the end of the game. So at least they didn't have to play with only 5 players on the field for that long. We'll talk more about the Chiefs at 5:25, but let's talk more Mizzou. So look, they're the 8th seed. Most likely going to have Kentucky there waiting, or right there in that first game on Thursday. Kentucky plays LSU. Kentucky will beat LSU.
They will beat them soundly. It's a money-making opportunity for Brendan. That's how I'm viewing it.
That seems to be the case. And so they will meet Mizzou in that next game. And if Mizzou wins that, then Florida is waiting after that. Them of 16-2 ilk in the SEC.
They lost twice.
They lost twice. One of them.
Who did they lose to?
Well, they lost to Auburn. They're not making the tournament.
Lost to Auburn. Who's the other team, though? The second one.
Mizzou.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for that rematch if it happens. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I know. Look, here's the thing, though. Do you see it a similar way with the Kentucky game? That Kentucky's going to be licking their chops too?
I don't actually know if I do. If it's the same as with Florida. Florida's so good and dominant and consistent that it feels like a glitch in the matrix that Mizzou won that game. It was so long ago. It was the first conference game, and I think that's not the same Florida team. When Mizzou played Kentucky, they hadn't come into their own yet, but it's fair to wonder if they ever did. Like, truly, did Kentucky ever find its stride and play a consistent stretch of basketball? They're kind of up and down the whole year, you know?
Yeah.
The 10 seed for a reason, or the 9 seed for a reason, excuse me.
Yeah, and look, they have the same record as a lot of those teams above them, but that's just how it breaks down. When you lose to those same teams most of the time, then you're going to get pushed down the rankings, and it's like the fact that Georgia was tied with them hurt them as well as the fact that they lost to Mizzou. But yeah, I would agree that the stretch that they were the best in SEC play probably was around the start of it. But no, not necessarily around the start. I'm looking at the wrong schedule here for Kentucky.
I was going to say they were bad to begin.
They were bad, but then they go on a roll, right? They beat Mississippi State, LSU, Tennessee, Texas, Ole Miss all in a row. But yeah, they were very streaky throughout that time.
2 good teams in that list too. Like that, they never really found their footing quite as much as I expected that they would. I don't know.
And lately, I mean, still some tough competition. They had to take on Florida. They lost that game. They were competitive, though. They were able to keep that close, but could not quite cover.
They got hosed. I don't know if you were tuning into the end of that game.
All that way locked in, but
Kentucky, I cared because I had Kentucky spread. They were plus 5.5 by the time it got to us. I should have just placed a wager when we were doing our picks of the week on Friday because I think it was a bigger number at the time. Anyway, Florida basically stepped out of bounds, making a great save of what would have been a turnover, and they just didn't call it. They review everything under the sun, and the guy's foot is just clearly on the line. They just never addressed it, never reviewed it, and so Kentucky would have had an opportunity to cut it down even below that 5 deficit with 30 seconds left or whatever it was, and the fact that they didn't catch it ended up being all Florida needed.
Well,
to
here's
pull
the
away.
thing: did Kentucky have challenges?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, if they did,
if they had a challenge, then that's
No,
on them. That's on them now. Like, they can challenge that if they want to.
It was very late at the end of the game, so I wouldn't be surprised if they had used their last. But it was pretty egregious when you see the replay. So more SEC ref stuff happening. But no, Florida played a pretty good game. I thought Kentucky was at least more competitive against Florida than Arkansas was in that 111-77 loss. To your point.
Yeah, because they finished SEC play losing 5 of their last 7. And one of them was a loss to Georgia that ends up kind of sinking them.
That's a gross one.
Lost to Auburn at this stage in the season. They lost at A&M. I think there's still some cracks in that team. There's no doubt aspects of this matchup that could very much go against Mizzou. And the Tigers do have to be ready to defend Otega Owe once again.
He played great against Florida. He was really good.
Yeah, and he's been on a scoring tear recently, and so he's going to be a hard guy to stop. He still scored 20 against Mizzou, and the Tigers were still able to win. So maybe it is about just making sure that he's maybe the only guy, and everybody else is quiet. But look, there are a lot of guys that you have to worry about offensively for Kentucky. Here's what I'm looking at though. What Mizzou did in that game was win it with their defense, holding Kentucky under 68. And I think I don't want to say better, but I think Sean Phillips is playing better, certainly in that aspect of the game. Again, you could say that they got slow starting early, stopping Arkansas from getting to the rim, but Phillips eventually got to 4 blocks in that game. He's been active in passing lanes, causing steals. And now you've added Trent Burns to the mix, who is a regular guy in the rotation. If he can provide a bit of a spark to allow things defensively to develop, that can also help you out. And also the main thing is that Anthony Robinson and T.O. Barrett combined for 16 points in that win against Kentucky back in January. I would guess that number is higher when they play eventually on Thursday. Certainly, you expect T.O. Barrett to play a little bit better than he did there because he has really come in. I think he will. Look, I think he can be the scoring threat that he has shown to be in that game because of how he has come into his own.
Okay.
Anthony Robinson had a fine game. It was more so defensively what he was doing against Arkansas this past weekend. Scoring-wise, didn't really provide all that much, but look, it's all going to come down to, can those two guys play a little bit above, well, certainly what happened this weekend, but I would say that the way that they've trended recently, they can do better than even what they did in that Kentucky game, and it's on Kentucky to try and figure out how they adjust to it, because I think Mizzou has a few more scoring options that they can turn to as opposed to what they had back then, because they were leaning on Mitchell and Stone in that one. Stone had 20. I don't think Stone's going to have 20 in this game coming up, but I think there are more ways that Mizzou can make up that difference now.
Maybe with regard to the point guards, Robinson and T.O. Barrett, both in the last 7 games, maybe a little bit of selective endpoints here, but have had 4 double-digit scoring efforts out of 7. Both of them have. T.O. Barrett in that 7-game span has 3 games where he's scored just 5. And in those games, he just has been a non-factor. 2 for 9 against Texas. Not the Arkansas game on the road was just 2 for 5. Just didn't take too many shots. 2 for 7 from the field against Oklahoma. And the shots he should be taking are close to the rim, like layups most of the time. He's not going to be a deep threat shooter. I think we have kind of assimilated to the narrative of like, yeah, the T.O. Barrett emergence without really acknowledging that it's been very, very hit or miss. He has not been consistent in this. And there are games where he, cost them because of turnovers. And sometimes in the same game where he is scoring, he's turned the ball over, had 10 against Mississippi State, but had 5 turnovers. Like, he has to play clean, whether the points are piling up or not. I think that's the key. And I think Robinson can. He's developed a little bit of a shot. And if he were to score double, I would take Robinson to score more points than Barrett in some cases, just because if Barrett has one of those games where it's not coming easily and the length of Kentucky gets into those passing lanes a little bit on him, he starts to spiral sometimes. And Mizzou just can't afford that in a game like what they could be facing on Thursday.
No,
that would be my concern.
I understand that it's not at the way you want it consistently right now from him in particular. And I think he's more crucial to this equation than even Robinson is at this point. The point I'm making is that Mizzou did not know that was within T.O. Barrett when they were playing Kentucky the first time.
You're right about that.
So if that shows up, then Mizzou can have the edge once again against this team. So we'll see. Also, notably, Trent Pierce only 5 points in that win against Kentucky.
He's actually the scoring threat that I want to highlight more so than the 2-point guards. I want the 2-point guards, Barrett primarily because he is the more relied upon guy, although Robinson's still going to be out there, and especially for defense. I want to see Barrett not really having to shoot, but facilitating, so he's racking up some assists. And I want to see him, if he's able to do what he does, drive in the lane so well and have that be a success, then that's how his points should come, and hopefully he gets fouled and gets to the line, things like that. Trent Pierce, I think, needs to be a shot maker, a playmaker, and a guy that's a scorer in this game if Missouri's going to win. I would call him, in terms of the putting up points, I would call Trent Pierce more of a factor that Mizzou needs than even the 2-point guards. I want the point guards to play their game and limit mistakes, but I want to see a little more of that from Pierce and even Jaden Stone, because I still think Stone's got it in him to revert back to that scoring prowess that he showed earlier in the year.
But with Pierce, you've seen it a little more consistently recently, because if
I would have seen it for one more layup, they would have beaten Arkansas.
No,
so
I understand.
He had them close because of his contributions on Saturday.
Double figure
I'm going to
scoring.
say that's a mark in his favor.
5 of 6. He's hit multiple threes in 6 consecutive games.
And I'm saying they need more. They need it to continue if they're going to have a chance.
So that continue. But the fact that the point guards, they can still stir the drink more so for Mizzou in that sense. I think the way the team has gone this year has been more reflective of how those guys have played.
I agree.
All game long or all season long. So that's the main thing, because they'll have a tough defensive assignment with Owe. And so now how do you conserve that so that you can have enough in the tank on the offensive end to give Mizzou what it needs there? That's the main question.
It's decision-making over scoring for me with the point guards. The points will come. If they come, that'd be great. The decision-making needs to be as good as it's been all year from T.O. Barrett. And he's had great games, right? Sometimes that leads to scoring directly. The Tennessee game is a great example. His decision was rather simple in that second half. Drive every time because they can't stop me. But adjust to the game would be my hope for T.O. is if that's not what Kentucky is presenting, don't force it. Find the ways that you can contribute, and you'll take a stray shot or two, but it's crisp passes, it's ball movement that others have to partake in as well. And hopefully your shooting percentage as a team would be a little bit higher, because I think we've talked a lot about these recent games and maybe instead of the losses, what hasn't gone as well. And it's like throughout all those, they're not always having a great shooting percentage in general. I know from 3, they were kind of lackluster on Saturday. Overall, it was another slow start. So I'm cool if those 2-point guards combine for 16 points. I'm cool if they combine for 30, but if they don't, I still think you can win as long as they're not making mistakes, not turning it over, and they're racking up some assists and steals, because we know that's part of their game as well.
We'll have a lot more to break down this week in the SEC tournament for Mizzou. They'll start play Thursday. They'll be the first game of the day at 11:30, most likely against Kentucky in that one. So we'll talk more about it here on The Big Show and give us your thoughts on it at 875-KTGR. You can also comment on our YouTube channel and on Facebook where we're live right now. All right, let's get to our trivia question for a chance to win some Como Man Show tickets. Como Man Show this Saturday, Northeast Event Center on the Boone County Fairgrounds. It's from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. You can come say hi at the KTGR booth. We'll have some fun games to play. We'll have a chance for you to win some T-shirts, chance for you to win some Cardinals tickets as well. So be coming by, even if you don't win. We'll have several chances to win this week, but you can go and get tickets at ComoManShow.com so that you can not miss out on any of the fun. There will be all kinds of stuff, power sports, hunting, fishing, tools, everything that men love. Go and check it out at the Como Man Show this Saturday. Here's your chance to win some tickets. If you're one of the first two people to answer this Mizzou basketball trivia question correctly, you'll win a pair of tickets to the Como Man Show. Here's the question. Mark Mitchell became the second Mizzou men's hoops player to earn multiple All-SEC selections in his career. Who was the other one? Tell us the answer. Text it to us, 573-875-KTGR. That's 573-875-5847. Who was the other Mizzou men's hoops player to have multiple All-SEC selections in his career? We'll talk more Chiefs next. Can Kelsey really make the impact that the Chiefs are paying him to make? That's next.
The best subscriptions in life are free. Subscribe to KTGR on YouTube to watch The Big Show and other exclusive content. YouTube.com/@KTGR Sports.
Step into a real-life snow globe with Zimmer Communications and Colette Travel on this 9-day European vacation. Stroll Prague, Dresden, Vienna, and Budapest. From castles and cathedrals to twinkling market stalls. Sip warm Glühwein, shop handcrafted gifts, and even visit a family-run candy workshop. Learn more by joining us in Colette Travel Tuesday, March 17th at 5:30 at Courtyard Marriott Columbia on Lamone Industrial Boulevard. RSVP today at ZimmerCommunications.com.
The Como Man Show is almost here. This Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Event Center where the Boone County Fair is held. You can win prizes in the hot wing eating contest or enter to win prizes like sweet tickets to a Mizzou game, iron rocking chairs with a fire pit, Royals pub table, concert tickets, and more. With food trucks and tasty beverages available. Plus, a portion of the proceeds will be given to the VIP Veteran Pack program. General admission and VIP tickets on sale now at ComoManShow.com. Hey, construction dude, congrats on the killer contract in Cape. Sweet. So, how are you going to get that Mongo crane down to the job site? Here's a haul of an idea. Just Google I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for heavy equipment hauling, too. Semis, dozers, RVs, goosenecks, farm and construction stuff, school buses, boats, bring it. If you use it, they can move it. Call the team they think you'll really love to meet. I70towing.com. Goosenecks. Give me some long necks.
To you, they're basically invisible. Tiny, weird, winged insects. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Not exactly. You see, while you're living your best human life above ground, there could be up to 1 million termites foraging for wood underneath your home. Steve's Pest Control needs you to know that termites are a serious problem. Like up to $5 billion a year serious. Oh, and that homeowner's insurance you've got? Yeah, termite damage isn't covered. In Missouri, it's not a matter of if you're going to get termites, it's when. A termite queen can lay over 20,000 eggs a day, and their colonies could house up to 1 million termites each. Upgrade your 5-star service with Steve's to the 5-star Advantage plan. In most cases, for less than $1.50 per day. You can show those termites that the Centricon system and Steve's Pest Control are a serious threat too.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
From the trainers to the coaches, the equipment managers to the players and fans, it takes a whole team to be truly successful. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you're looking for the best team of jewelers in Columbia, it's Betts. Their staff has years of experience handcrafting jewelry, and when you combine that with the newest technology, it gives Betts Jewelers the ability to truly wow their customers. So talk to the team at your hometown jeweler today. Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
Hi, I'm Sarah Sticklin McDonald.
And I'm Charlie Sticklin with the Sticklin and Sticklin Law Firm.
And I'm Mizzou Softball's Natalie Touche. At Sticklin and Sticklin, all we do is personal injury.
We've earned millions for our clients since 1991.
On the diamond, I trust my team. Off the diamond, I trust Sticklin and Sticklin. Don't let the insurance companies strike you out. Let Sticklin and Sticklin go to bat for you. Sticklin and Sticklin, it's a home run.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
Contest is still open. We're still waiting for the correct answer.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't think it'd be this hard, but we'll repeat it.
No. Even I got this one.
Yeah.
that hardly ever happens.
Once again, the trivia question, Mark Mitchell became the second Mizzou men's hoops player to earn multiple All-SEC selections in his career. Who is the other one? You can text us that answer right now, 573-875-KTGR. If you're one of the first two to text us the correct answer, you'll win a pair of tickets to the Como Man Show this Saturday, Northeast Event Center in Columbia. You won't want to miss it. You'll be able to come by our booth. You can win some awesome prizes at the Man Show, food trucks, all kinds of great booths so you can check out. It's always a fun time. You can win tickets right now if you text us the answer to that question. Again, 875-5847. Who is the other Mizzou men's hoops player to have multiple All-SEC selections in his career?
Right, which has to be. It's not like when they say you're an SEC Hall of Famer when you didn't play in the conference.
Right,
it's got to be somewhat recent on this.
Last 14 years, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you got to span. So, again, text us that answer. If you know the answer, call or text us here, 875-5847. We'll keep that open for a little bit longer. In the meantime, Travis Kelce's back with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
We talked about Kenneth Walker joining the fold. That's a huge splash by the Tigers at the running back spot. And I think I will lead myself to believe that it convinced Travis Kelce to come back, at least.
Really?
Maybe on a different type deal. Year, $12 million. I would have liked them to sign him for even less, but he was maybe even asking for more than that. But when they told him, hey, Kenneth Walker's going to be here, which means the Super Bowl will be coming our way soon. If you would like to have another Super Bowl, come on by, my friend.
Slow down.
That's the track they're on.
You think he knew Patrick Mahomes was going to still be there, right? Like, I don't think that was.
He knew
that
that.
Have been enough.
He saw what happening in the running back room last year. That wasn't enough last year.
Not enough.
Yeah.
You think the Walker signing or the fact that they were finally going to address running back made Kelce more exuberant?
I don't think it hurt
to come back.
I don't think it hurt.
I think he wanted to come back either way, and it was just like once he decided that.
Like, if he was seeking the money, okay, but if you want a championship, this is your best chance. Over here.
He was never that. Like, if he was going to play, I don't think it. I think
we've seen too many examples, Brendan. We've seen Emmitt Smith do this. We've seen Joe Montana do this to the Chiefs.
More and more.
We've seen it before. It's not.
I think with
out
him
of the
it was
question.
bluster. I think it would have been bluster.
Okay.
I guess if the Chiefs would have absolutely lowballed him, it becomes for Travis Kelce about pride more so than the bank account at that point. Because again, he's gonna be just fine financially, and not just for what he does on the football field or what he does with the podcast or what he does in his love life. He's going to be just fine for all of those reasons. But I do think it was important that the Chiefs didn't, enter into a territory of playing the dollars and cents and looking at the production profile as maybe you are, Andy, and saying, I don't know if he's worth $12 million. I actually don't care about that at all with this. I think it's more worthwhile to pay a little bit of a tax on, hey, he can be a Chief his whole career, retire a Chief, and we don't have to have that awkwardness. That's worth however much it's worth to owners, and I think it's, like I've talked about, I brought up the Cardinals example. I think with Yadier Molina, it was like that, where like he wasn't necessarily worth what they were paying him in his later contracts, but they didn't. I remember there was a quote either from Bill DeWitt or from John Mozeliak at the time who said, with a player of his caliber, what were we gonna do? Like argue over money? Like and you might say, well, that's kind of your job, is to put the best product on the field and to do so under the budget. But I think that there are certain players in sports where there is a counterexample, and I think Travis Kelce absolutely qualifies. He and Mahomes will be Chiefs for their entire careers. I don't think anything's going to go south with Mahomes, and I think surely this is Kelsey's last year, we would think. And so
maybe
that we think would book that he's going to be a Chief his whole career too. And I think that matters.
I think it does matter. I mean, the aspect of having him finish out that type of legacy, I don't think the legacy would have been all that much tarnished if he finished with, I don't know.
It just would have been awkward. We don't need to see him in another
Eagles
uniform.
or somebody
We're
like
so
that.
close to the end. We're so
I get
close to the end. It's like, just suck it up. And is he worth $9 million? Okay, pay him 12, and everybody's, we get to have all the good attention that comes with still having Kelsey Mahomes. Like, there's a lot of positives to it that aren't just in the stat sheet. So I'm cool with it. Kelsey signing back doesn't make the Chiefs Super Bowl contenders. You think they are, though, today, Super Bowl contenders, despite that we don't know if their quarterback's playing in week 1, which I said I think he will, but still it's looming that is recovering from an ACL. We don't always see guys play as well in their first year after a major injury like that. Normally it's Achilles, though, for quarterbacks that takes another year to really come back from and be good. I think Mahomes will be just fine. And we know he trains and puts his body in position for this type of stuff better than anybody. So I'm not worried about that. Is Ken Walker, though, really? Because I think a week ago we were going, Chiefs have some work to do, but you think that's the move that got you back on board. You're in. They're going to win it all.
Because they addressed this immediately. They addressed D-tackle immediately. Got Kairos Tonga today, which I think is a really solid option at the price that they're going to put him at. They could potentially go and get another free agent there and be set. They'd be like, and they also have a rookie last year, Omar Norman Lott, who got hurt early, that they really like, second round pick. Like, can put him back into the mix. And Chris Jones is here. So that's I think that you feel really good about. Still need to figure out edge rusher like that. Yeah, I think they still need to be in the market there. Boy Maffa is off the market, it would seem. I think that was an option for there from the Seahawks. Where'd he go? I forget where he got signed to. But that's
I saw that my guy Khalil Mack was going back to the Chargers over the weekend. I saw that, so that's out.
So that's all. That still needs to be figured out. I think you need a good free agent option there, but I think you're probably still looking in the draft to find ways to get better at that position. I just think when they make drastic changes like this, it usually means they're going back to the Super Bowl, because I don't think it took all that much to derail this thing. Keep in mind, they were not trying for 3 weeks afterwards, and they finished 6-11 because of that.
Yeah, that didn't count. They're a 500 team, give or take. I mean,
and so many games that didn't go their way because their offense just wasn't consistent enough, because they weren't operational enough.
Okay.
And you have a full enough type of skill set from every single position group for what you want out of a championship contender. And so
he didn't have Rice for 8 weeks as well during, they lost a couple of games early that maybe contributes to.
Yeah.
Let me advocate for the devil, though, here.
Okay.
Like, the defense isn't going to be the same without Trent McDuffie. You're going to have to also replace Jalen Watson.
Sure.
But
no, I get it. And I understand.
I think they can do those things.
Brian Cook also going to Cincinnati today. So.
Yeah, the defense that'll be interesting. I think they can do those things in the aggregate over a 3-year span. I think the defense will continue to march onward and is going to be a solid unit for the Chiefs. But is it going to be the pinnacle of what it needs to be this coming season? Can they turn it around that quick? If they're drafting young secondary players, can they get them up to speed quick enough to where the timelines line up of the offense is finally firing, but the defense is maybe still a work in progress? I think we've seen before the answer to that is yes. When the Chiefs are truly firing offensively, I'm talking about back in the Tyreek Hill days and even shortly thereafter when they were still finding ways to win with their offense. But I wonder if, when we look at the dust that settles on the defense, is that unit going to be the same? Because they were kind of designed to be a team that could still lead with its defense in recent years. I want to see the pendulum flip the other way. But I also it's been so long since we've seen that version of a full season explosive Chiefs offense. Kelsey's not Kelsey anymore in the same way that he was when that happened. Your receivers, there are questions about, how do you have a wide receiver 1 and a wide receiver 2, or do you have a wide receiver 2 and a wide receiver 3 with that top slot vacated and you really don't have anybody to fill it? What are those guys? I think the answer is going to be the offense is going to be good. And I've said Mahomes is playing week 1 and that's going to be, it's going to be just fine. Super Bowl, though, I don't know if I'm there yet. Edge rusher could get me there, though. If I see them back with the answer to that question, and they handled the secondary, replacing McDuffie, however they're going to do it in the aggregate, I could get back on board. I still don't see them as a Super Bowl threat just yet. And there is that little bit of a squeak in the back of my brain about Ken Walker possibly not just being, he was the best option that was out there, and I'm glad they got him. We'll see how consistent he ends up being too. I think he'll help, but the degree to which is still maybe a topic that we'll get into.
Here's the whole thing about the secondary. Yeah, they'll be young. They'll be most likely guy. They might bring in a free agent to fill a corner spot, or maybe if they really feel that the safety spot needs to be filled with a veteran, they'll go out and find one. They will draft hard in this position with the draft capital that they have in a similar way that they did 4 years ago. Like, yeah, all those guys that they took in that class that included McDuffie and Jalen Watson and Brian Cook and Josh Williams, like, they're all gone almost overnight. So, yeah, you got to build that back. But you can do that by having a front seven that is more effective. And you can do that by, it's not even just getting to the quarterback there and covering, but it's also the fact that, look, if you are more set at D tackle and you're upgrading that room and you can stop the run a little bit better, well, now you can ease yourself up in the secondary and not have to creep up as much. You can drop in coverage some more and allow yourself to play the position the way it was supposed to be played in your respective spots. So to me, and by the way, Chiefs have done an excellent job not only at identifying the talent in the draft in the secondary, but also developing it. They have one of the best DBs coaches in the league. I think they are uniquely set up to find that type of rhythm once again in the secondary, in a spot where that unit will be a little more feared, not this year, but 2-3 years down the line.
Okay.
Once they work in this defense some more. This is what the Chiefs do. They rebuild as they contend.
I agree with exactly what you said. I think they're a Super Bowl favorite in 2 years and in 3 years. I think with how young the defense is going to be just for this coming season, I don't know if that's Super Bowl. I don't know if it's fixed unless they nail the draft. Like you just said it, 2 years, 3 years down the road, when that defense is worked in a little bit more and everybody's comfortable.
But I'm specifically about the secondary itself.
I know.
Like that group, will be more solid once you get them in this situation. But I think they are uniquely set up to succeed in this situation based on the team that they would be going to.
But does that mean they win the Super Bowl this year, or does it take a year?
It can.
That was my whole argument, is that it's going to take a year, maybe, if this defense needs a little seasoning.
AFC, I don't think is as loaded up
it's not.
as we make it out to be. I think
who are the favorites? Who scares you in the AFC? If you're telling me that even with the understanding,
I guess the Bills will always be there. Like that'll be like I'll pick that to be the AFC Championship game once again. This, if I had to pick now, it's those two teams.
I hope it is. Gosh dang it! Right? But here, your premise is that, and I don't disagree with this premise. The Chiefs' defensive plan to rebuild the defense is going to work.
Yes,
it's just going to work even better in year 2 than it is maybe in this upcoming year, which is that's my premise as well. Do they have enough in this upcoming year to win it? It will be fascinating. I do think they're a playoff team. You also have to pay attention to the division. It did all of a sudden beef up around the Chiefs where, maybe the Chargers and Broncos benefit from the Chiefs being down for a year, but they're good teams. Like they have decent programs and they're not necessarily just going to fade from existence. But I do agree when we talk about the AFC at large, are we going to see the Broncos come back down to earth with a first-place schedule? Yes. Are we going to see the Patriots come back down to earth with a first-place schedule? Two teams that we would argue kind of were products of their schedule to an extent.
Yep.
We're going to find that out next year, and maybe the Chiefs are able to slide right back in where they belong. It's possible. I just want to see how they address these areas that are currently questions before I declare, yes, in year 1 they can do that with a remade defense.
See, the way that they're now set up, because they've got running back figured out, because they can just sort of focus in on okay, now do we look at finding a free agent at the edge rusher spot? But what does that mean for the draft? You don't have to worry about should we take Jeremiah Love there anymore? Like, you don't do that.
Yeah, that number 9 is available for a defensive player.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see any way around it unless you're
I would go
taking
edge
a
rusher
crazy
first,
lineman.
Edge rusher
Yeah.
first, corner second. That's what I would do. Essentially, edge rusher at 9, corner at 29, assuming you don't trade up or down or anything like that with the way that it works out. But, yeah, and you might even spend another second or third round pick on another corner. Like, yeah, that area has to be built up again. The Chiefs have a track record of doing so pretty quickly. And so that's why I'm like, okay, have pass rushers that other defenses actually fear, that are consistent and don't just take games off like we saw last year. And then you can get it back to where it was supposed to be, and then pair it with an offense that should be more complementary of each other.
There is this is from PFF. I don't know who wrote it. Mock drafts are going to be more interesting now that we get some of the free agency answers for some of these teams, and then we kind of figure out what teams still need. This mock draft from PFF actually has the Chiefs taking a wide receiver, Mekhi Lemon, at 9. I don't know that they'll necessarily do that. It would be interesting. My question, though, was going to be, and the reason I pulled it up wasn't to see who they had the Chiefs taking, but to see if a particular player fell. And they, in this instance, do have going to number 10, to the Bengals at number 10. Would you, if he was sitting there, do you think Caleb Downs would be interesting as a safety, or do you need it to be one of those other marquee positions? Because I think that would be a way to do it, is say, we got one of the best safeties in the league already, and we're just going to draft him if he's there at 10. You could go the Ruben Bain direction. It
depends on how you feel about the edge rusher pool, right? Like, if you think there's a drop-off after the first 3 or 4 guys, then maybe you don't do that. It also depends. Like, I think the Chiefs still, even if they want to draft high at edge rusher, I think they still need to sign a guy. Like, get or trade for Kayvon Thibodeau or something like that. Like, get another guy in the room that you would trust starting at one of those positions, because you technically still need a starter there. I don't know if you throw even your number 9 overall pick in that spot right away.
Yeah, I hear you. Even if you do draft like Bain, you'd want another veteran that can at least kind of spell and not put too much on the rookies' plate at once. This mock kind of perfect for what we're talking about. Bain goes 7 to the Commanders. So you say, okay, if the other edge rushers, we don't like him as much, would you maybe be able to do that and say, well, by virtue of Bain going sooner, Downs is there. And then number 11, 12 were 2 cornerbacks, Delane out of LSU and McCoy out of Tennessee. So like you could see if you need a lockdown corner, you could potentially find one there at number 9. A lot of ways that this could end up going. I think now what you want, if you're the Chiefs, is for Jeremiah Love to go ahead of you. You want somebody to take him, because by signing Ken Walker, you're not.
And I think
someone taking him means somebody else drops to you as a result. That would be ideal.
I think he still can. Like, people were saying, oh, now Jeremiah Love's going to fall out of the top 10 because the Chiefs and Saints both signed running backs.
Let's see someone trade up. That would be awesome.
Somebody trade up, but even some of those teams in front could still take the chance on him. I think it's absolutely the case. You don't always see those running backs, even the ones that are drafted high, jump right in and start right away. It does take time.
It's a bad beat, though. It's a bad beat that Etienne went to the Saints. I will say like that. That's like, come on, that would have been perfect.
875-KTGR. Give us a call or a text. We do have the winners now for our trivia challenge, so we'll reveal our trivia answer next. And also talk some Mizzou baseball. Is it time to take notice of Carrick Jackson's Tigers after 12 straight wins? That's next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Ben Hermes, and this live local sports center is brought to you by Lease Tower Company. If it's round and rubber, Lease sells it. LeaseTowerCompany.com. Mizzou men's basketball fell on senior day this past Saturday to Arkansas, 88-84. Senior Mark Mitchell led all scorers in the game, posting a career-high 32 points in his final regular season game at Mizzou Arena. The Tigers finished the regular season with a record of 20-11, finishing 8th in the SEC with a standing of 10-8 throughout conference play. The Tigers are the 8th seed in the SEC men's basketball tournament, receiving a single bye. Their first game will be this upcoming Thursday, March 12th, against the winner of Kentucky and LSU, with tip-off from Nashville at 11:30 a.m. right here on KTGR. And the Kansas City Chiefs have signed running back Kenneth Walker III Announced earlier today, Walker, who was named the Super Bowl MVP just over a month ago, inked a 3-year contract worth over $43 million with $28.7 million fully guaranteed. Walker totaled 1,700 scrimmage yards and over 4.5 yards per carry last season, including the playoffs. Additionally, tight end Travis Kelce has announced that he has agreed to a 1-year, $12 million contract to return to the Chiefs for his 14th NFL season. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast with API. At API Project Fitness, former MU football players Darrell Jackson and Michael Egnew will take your fitness to the next level with group classes, personal training, and training for young athletes. Find your fire, APIProjectFitness.com.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking partly cloudy skies with mild temperatures tonight as we drop down to about 60 degrees. Tomorrow is breezy with near record highs again. It's an ABC 17 Storm Track weather alert day. We'll get up into the 80s during the day. We'll see a chance of storms popping up in the evening, potentially bringing large hail, the threat of a tornado or two, and strong winds with heavy rain. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
The foundation is set.
Missouri knocks off the #1 team in the nation.
The frame is built.
On the run, Mitchell for the flush, Missouri by 20.
And the gates
The habits, the response to detail, the execution, all that stuff matters.
are open.
Drives right baseline to the rim, jams it as he hangs and got fouled.
This is your radio home for Mizzou basketball.
Cruz, here comes the three. Bang, he splashed it home.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
As we get into the heart of basketball season, 1851 Underground Tap and Grill wants to remind you, whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you want to plop down with some friends and watch some of that college conference action on TV, they've got a spot for you. Your favorite cold beer or cocktail and delicious appetizer or dinner options on the menu. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's no secret that it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Farming comes with pride and pressure. Long days, unpredictable weather, rising costs, and worries that don't quit. You don't have to carry that stress alone. Talking helps. Show Me Strong Farm Families offers free, confidential telehealth counseling with professionals who understand agriculture. Search Show Me Strong Farm Families and take the first step. Call 573-882-4677 because talking helps. Brought to you by University of Missouri Extension.
Winter is in full swing, and Aleve is here to keep you moving. When the cold weather sets in, everyday aches and pains can linger, but Aleve's got your back. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, Aleve keeps you going with long-lasting body pain relief to get you through whatever the season brings. Chilly days or cozy nights, Aleve gives you that long-lasting body pain relief you can count on this winter. Try Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
I'm U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. We all seem to be in a rush these days, from work to driving our kids around. But when you're behind the wheel, please do not speed. A few minutes saved by going faster is never worth the risk. So follow the speed limit, enjoy the drive, maybe bring some snacks for the kids, and know that along the way, you're getting quality time with your family.
Paid for by NHTSA.
My name is Barry Rowe with True Sun Exteriors and Interiors. I started True Sun Exteriors and Interiors in 2010, and I started working with the Zimmer team. It was the first advertising option that I tried was radio. Stayed with that, and it started seeing results with that in a relatively quick time frame. And with the Zimmer team, with the creativity that they can help you with, the ideas, and just their advice, makes it such a core piece of what we do to get our name out in the community and branded.
Zimmer Communications. You know business. We grow business. ZimmerCommunications.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Gail?
When I retired, I just let all my taxes pile up. I had gotten many threatening letters. The one that said they were going to try and take my property was probably the scariest. When I found out that I owed close to $300,000, I was in total shock. It was a bad situation. I didn't know what to do.
Then Gail found tax relief advocates.
When TRA told me I was only going to owe $368, I just was in total disbelief.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Gail did and call TRA for a consultation.
I was so blessed with TRA.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-544-7357. 800-544-7357. That's 800-544-7357.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
So the answer to our trivia question from earlier, we have our winners now. Mark Mitchell, second Mizzou men's hoops player to earn multiple All-SEC selections in his career. Who was the other one? And yes, it was not that difficult to get, and eventually a lot of people did get it.
Okay.
So we did get the correct answer from several people. We just had to pick the ones who got to us first. The answer was Kobe Brown, who got there twice during his senior year for sure. I believe the junior year was the other year that he got it. So
I think that's correct.
So those are the only two that have gotten it multiple times. I was trying to look back and see if there were any snubs. Like, it probably wasn't going to happen for a lot of the other players that were here. And keep in mind, Jordan Clarkson, I think, only played for 1 year.
That's the thing. A lot of those impactful guys weren't long-term guys in many cases.
Alex Oriaki, I think of another one that was really good, but was only here for a year.
Yep.
Phil Pressey was only, I guess he played 2 years in the SEC.
In that role, though,
yeah,
the role was really not.
That was kind of the other thing. So it's an interesting topic, but yeah, Kobe Brown was the only other one. Mark Mitchell is now the second. Congrats to him.
Checking something. Yeah, and actually, Pressey only played in the SEC 1 year. That's what it was.
That's what I was trying to remember. I guess that was
because I knew that the Norfolk State year was Big 12, and so that was
because he left early. Yeah, he left early to go pro after the junior year, and so that was the reason why. So, yeah, the only Kobe Brown and Mark Mitchell have done it. We'll see how Mark Mitchell and Co. do in the SEC tournament starting Thursday. All right, how about Mizzou baseball, man?
Yeah.
14-2, 12 straight wins, 4-game sweep of UIC this weekend. Wildly impressive that they come back in that setting where their game is suspended Friday. They were down at one point 12-1. I think they had gotten it to 12-4 before the stoppage and then picked it up Saturday afternoon, finished the comeback, won at 13-12, and then backed that up with 2 shutouts in a row Saturday and Sunday. They went in a run rule yesterday, 10-0. This team's hot. I know the competition is going to stiffen up soon. Like, they got Auburn this weekend. Auburn's ranked number 6 right now. But this team's coming in hot. And a hot baseball team is hard to stop no matter who the personnel is on either side, Brendan.
Yes, we do have to see it, though. And I'm understanding of some Mizzou baseball fans who might say, I kind of need to see it against SEC teams.
Yeah.
But this isn't an unusual year in that they don't ever start the season by playing SEC teams. They start the season by playing non-conference opponents. And this is the best in, a good long while since 2017 start that they've had. So even measuring it against the last, 10 years or whatever, they haven't had these types of starts, even in the non-conference games when you're not playing the caliber of opponent that you'd be playing in SEC play. So is the strength of schedule lower than some of those years? I don't know. Perhaps. But I think you credit them for what they're doing and then say, we're eager to, support that should it continue in conference play. We know how difficult that's going to be to do in a league like this, but I mean, all you've got to do in the SEC is just kind of be middle of the pack or even a little bit lower than that, and you're going to get that national acclaim for being a very, very high-quality baseball program because of how good the SEC is. So just hold your own there, and you're talking about an NCAA tournament. I mean, that really is what should be the goal, to kind of just mix it up with these SEC teams, get enough of those wins throughout the year to be considered for that, and go from there.
Yeah, and look, they have definitely started better than the last couple of years, which I think has been comparable competition to what they've had in non-con. I mean, look, we'll see how Mount St. Mary's and, Pine Bluff and North Dakota State. I think North Dakota State, that was the more impressive one to me. I think that's a real team that'll do stuff in their conference.
Okay.
UIC, we'll see. I mean, it sure seemed that they had overwhelmed them by the end of the weekend. you wonder mentally how that team was, coming into Saturday and blowing that lead. Mizzou just taking advantage of it all. But I think you can pinpoint individual players who are really racking up some nice numbers, especially Tyler Macon, who at one point was leading college baseball in hits and is having an excellent junior year over at first base offensively. Brady Kellenbrink had a career high in strikeouts yesterday. There's a lot to be taking notice of right now. Again, we'll see what they look like against an SEC foe this weekend. It'll be an interesting test against Auburn, but they'll have one more non-con before then. Tomorrow, they changed the time tomorrow, 1 o'clock. 12:45 is when pregame coverage begins on the KTGR app. You can hear it there as they take on Southern Indiana at Taylor Stadium before hosting Auburn here in Columbia this weekend. We'll give you a chance to win some Mizzou baseball tickets tomorrow as well. Be listening at 5:20 for that. Thanks for joining us today. Back at 4 tomorrow. He's Brendan. He's producer Ben. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
Hi, I'm Sarah Sticklin McDonald.
And I'm Charlie Sticklin with the Sticklin & Sticklin Law Firm.